Hello, and welcome to Soul Sisters and Seekers podcast. I'm Aruna,
I'm Liz.
I'm Gayathri.
I'm Vidhya.
and we are four friends who come together to ask questions like, what does spirituality mean to you? What is faith? What is mindfulness? And we have an open and honest conversation on this podcast, and we invite you to join us. So, if our conversations resonate with you, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. So, let's begin. Today's question comes from Gayathri.
Today, my question is: are spirituality and daily life mutually exclusive, or can they coexist?
Okay.
So, are spirituality and daily life mutually exclusive, or can they coexist? I think for myself, having thought about it, there are two ways we can interpret this. If we are actioning spirituality, meaning if spirituality is a practice that we do, then we are either in spirituality or in daily life at any given moment. But if spirituality is part of our life, then I think daily life and spirituality coexist every single moment. I guess it boils down to how do we define spirituality? Each of us has a slightly different definition of spirituality, right? So is meditating spirituality? Is reading spiritual books and contemplation spirituality? Is going for a nature walk spirituality? Is having a mindful practice spirituality? Is if we have a controlled, loving way of speaking, that could be spirituality. But those are all doings, right? We consciously action those things.
But
In that
spirituality
case-
can also be a feeling as well, right? That feeling
That's
of
right. So that's the
connectedness.
second one,
Mm.
right? If we are sitting in that place of connectedness where then all these examples actually become part of you, then they both can coexist.
It's like if
Yeah.
you believe in no free will, right? We don't control anything. It all happens for a reason. I would think that's where you apply spiritual knowledge or spiritual feeling. Like you don't get carried away with events that happen in your life. You just take time to pause and think about it, and always trust. There are better days ahead, better moments ahead of you. It's just like a passing phase. I think we start to apply more and more of that practice when we are spiritually involved. In this, and not like a practice or like you were saying, like actioning or doing something, but it's just a thought. I'm not me. Who am I? There is a force beyond myself. If you keep thinking about it, I think you don't let petty things bother you so much.
Yeah, I think you mentioned doing is when you go shift from doing to being. I think that's a spiritual shift, and you don't are as reactive. You're not reactive, you respond. So I think spirituality is a practice from doing to being, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, I do find, and going back to Gayatri's question, I think it can be challenging. I had an example of trying to, there's a spiritual self who was full of joy going forward to this particular event that I attended. But then I got so many, interactions with other people who are not on the path, who don't see the bigger picture, who get, who react as opposed to responding, right? Themselves, but, they're reacting, and then they have an interaction with me, and then I'm trying to respond as opposed to reacting. So, but not consciously. I just respond. I just find a solution. If they were griping about something, complaining about something, which they didn't need to complain about, they could have just stepped back and said, hey, this is a situation. I'm just wondering if we can come to some terms on, and it's the way that they had a conversation with me. How did they treat me? They didn't treat me with respect, right, in that conversation. So in return, I treated that person with respect. I provided a solution. So that would not have been me maybe a few years ago. I think I would have reacted, then my ego would have reacted in a way that kind of like, oh, well, who is he to talk to me like this? And then I would have got my back up, right? So, so in that way, I think you have to, it has to coexist. I think, but sometimes I feel like you're kind of in that vibration and you're in that wavelength. And then there's daily life that keeps pulling you down to that lower vibration. And you always have to kind of be conscious and pull yourself back up to the higher vibration. But it's really difficult because even so, this was this recent wedding I went to. I'm surrounded by people with negative energy, who are complaining, who are not respectful, or who are certain things at the table. And then I felt myself kind of getting in and trapped in that. And I was actually happy after the event was over and a few days later, then I was like, okay, I want to feel positive. And then I started thinking about all the people in my life, even those people, and sending them love, because I felt like that energy was kind of like making me feel really low and making me have these other feelings that I haven't had in a long time, just because of their negative vibrations.
Mhm.
But that's also a good test to see where we are, right? If we are in our own little caves of positivity and surrounding ourselves with only love and affirmation, then we really don't we really don't know where we are with our own spirituality, with our own centeredness, right? Going into the world and experiencing the extremes is a good way to see how we are and where we are, right? So
Isn't that what it's all about? Like, aren't we here to experience? Otherwise,
absolutely.
we would be sitting on a mountain, right? And not
Yeah.
everybody. I was actually listening to a podcast, and this exact same subject came, where he was saying, oh, if everybody came to Earth for the experience of sitting and meditating in a cave in the Himalayas, what would life be like? We're not here for that. Not everybody. There's a few people that are, and each of us has different experiences. So just as I'm having a spiritual experience, the people that at my wedding table are having their own experiences that they came to experience, right?
Yeah. So then a follow-up question to that. So let's take your example. We're in a challenging situation, and we fall off the so-called spiritual path. We react. By the way, people like Ramana Maharishi say reacting is also okay, right? As long as you're not reacting from malice or something like that, the motivation. Reacting to a situation is also what it is. So let's say we react and we fall off the so-called spiritual path. What is it that each of you do to sort of regain the centeredness?
I think I would apologize. No matter if what I did was wrong or right. First thing, I would like to fix the situation, especially if the person is close to me, if the relationship matters to me a lot.
Yeah.
Right? That's way of finding peace within ourselves so that we can move on.
Yeah.
So when I react, I think Vidya is right there. When I react, it's usually my family of origin. They are a lot of my triggers. And when I react, I'm the first to apologize and just say, I'm sorry, I lost my cool. And it's really hard to have. And another question I have to ask you ladies is, how do you keep your emotions out of context? How do you respond instead of reacting. Like, how is that capable? How are you capable of doing that when you got that emotion, strong emotion?
I think it's pausing. You have to
Yeah.
pause.
It's that pause.
Yeah.
It's that finding that pause.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or let
Pause
the
and
other
reflect.
person talk when you're like, listen more. Because often what we do is we all want to express ourselves. We quickly react. At that moment, we say something. So pausing is one thing, or just give yourself some more time to listen to the person completely. Maybe that feeling moves away, whatever you were trying to say, right? That could be something.
So coming back to that,
Sorry. They tend to, if someone's not on the spiritual, like no one's on the same real, I have a difficult time I get misunderstood a lot. Even just the simple sentences, and it's like, oh no, that's not what I meant. So
my answer to that question, how do you get back, is the same answer I'd give you to that then, Liz. For me, if I react to something, then I would offer clarity on where I am.
okay.
Because usually that's the misunderstanding, right? Usually you react because you feel misunderstood your own self. So
It's frustration. Yeah.
It's frustration due to misunderstanding, right? Like someone doesn't get me fully, so I react. So to me, the approach I have is I offer full clarity on where I am. Like there's no ego involved there. This is how I'm feeling. And, this is my expectation. And so the other person then has a full view and they can choose to do what they want with that.
So my recent example where, like I had this interaction with this person. And then after that, it affects me, right? It affects my relationship. And then I kind of hold a grudge, and I don't want to hold a grudge. So that's also something I'm working on. And I think that's also part of a real life experience. It's like forgiveness for them acting the way they act. And then kind of going back to, even though we're all connected, we're not all the same. And I think that's where the challenge is. And I think when we're spiritual and we hear, oh, you and I are one. No, we're not really, because we all have our personalities and our egos. In essence, we have the same, but it's, supreme consciousness expressing in a certain form, in all our different forms, right? So, and all these forms are not the same. So there is going to be tension between the forms. But then for one person to say, oh, I recognize the truth, the light is within all of us. Yes, it's true. But then not everybody acts as if that is the case. And maybe a few key people like ourselves that kind of recognize that, okay, we all accept that we are one, whereas the world doesn't. The world is chaotic, and there's lots of tension and lots going on and lots of egos and so on. So my difficulty comes in basically having this kind of interaction, but then that person, even afterward, it's like, wow, I expect more of other people because I'm stepping up my game a little bit. And I expect that person to just kind of see the bigger picture, be the better person, have conversations instead of, negative interactions or coming kind of like from an egotistical point. So, but then I get, what part of it is that grudge? Like, what is that ego?
Just a thought occurred to me as you were speaking. So just from the point of view of holding a grudge, could it be that you're holding a grudge because you didn't fully express what you were feeling as a result of what was said or what was done?
Yeah.
If you
I
had
think
the
it could be.
forum to honestly say, this is what I'm feeling about what you said. And then there's full transparency. Then from there, you can come at a solution. That's fine. But if you go directly to a solution, to appease a situation,
Mhm.
without fully expressing what you're feeling,
Yes.
then that's perpetuated, isn't it? Because that's not dealt with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I don't think that this person would have given me the opportunity to express myself.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's also disappointing. So you're kind of like caught because you would love to have a conversation, but some people just don't know how to have a conversation. It's just their way or the highway.
I'm loving this conversation because we think spirituality is holy and there are no issues of feelings of hurt or holding of grudges, but it encompasses everything, isn't it? Holding a grudge is also
Right.
spirituality, and
But
feeling
it's a
And you
hurt is
can't be
forgiveness.
also.
perfect all the time.
There's no perfection, right? Even
Yeah,
that is
yeah, it's-
perfect.
Yeah, we are all human beings and we still have emotions. Like Aruna
Yeah.
was saying, we are not there yet where we could just go to the mountains and just sit in silence. So leading a family way, we have a lot of triggers in our
Mhm.
day-to-day lives. It's just how I would say it's like how fast we move on from that situation
Right.
gives us peace of mind.
And
Either
forgiveness,
you try to
right?
forget, forgive that person,
Mm.
maybe just forget the incident, just
Mhm.
carry on with what you do, or take time, pause, and then connect with the same person again.
Easier said than done, but yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Or the other way is to fully meet yourself in what you're feeling, right? This I do quite a bit. Whenever I'm triggered, I'm like, I look at myself. Okay, what in me is triggered? Like, what is it? What am I truly feeling about this?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're able to even navigate it for yourself because the other person is only triggering you, right? What's
Right.
going on is only within yourself.
Mm.
I've been doing that a lot. I mean, this whole week, different people have triggered me in different ways and different situations has. So it really just had to sit back and it's like, why am I feeling this way? Why did I, react? Not so much react, but why didn't I enjoy myself as much as I could have? Do you guys feel that way? Do you feel like, you're not able to feel that highs and lows like as much?
Like what is highs means like completely enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anything. Just have fun.
Yeah. Without like vices and, like just pure joy, it's I think I do that when, when we had our conscious dancing. I think I'm in that zone,
Yeah.
but then I wasn't
That's
able
the
to get
zone you
into
like.
that zone.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're in that conscious dancing, you're in your element there,
Mhm.
right? That's
Yeah.
the joy of enlightenment. But you
Right.
can't bring that with you.
No, I think maybe I was judging. Maybe I was judging.
Yeah.
Maybe, like maybe it's because I was like, oh, people are like spilling their drinks on the dance floor and I wasn't enjoying that part of it. Like there's so many other things that were happening that kind of like marred the experience for me. Whereas I'm like, okay, well, first of all, you don't need to drink to dance. You could just dance and have a wonderful time, right?
Mhm.
So I think maybe there was parts of me that was judging the experience. So
And 10 years ago, now you would have been
I
right
would
there
have
in the
been the
mix,
person spilling
right?
drinks all over the dance floor.
There you have the definition for spirituality.
Yeah.
But the downside is you didn't enjoy yourself.
Because
That's the
I
thing,
mean,
though.
yeah.
Spirituality is
Sorry.
not to the exclusion of anything, right?
Right.
It's actually the inclusion of everything.
Right. But spirituality, you're supposed to be blissful and joyful all the time, right?
I'm not sure that's true.
Well,
No.
you look at Eckhart Tolle, he doesn't get emotional.
Yeah. But
you
I
know,
thought it's this, I guess maybe it's that state where you get samadhi and then you have blissful states. And
yeah.
maybe those
I
are
mean, he
fleeting
was
moments.
apparently when Oprah told him he was going to be the feature for the book club, this is before he was famous. He was like non-reactive. He was like,
Well, he
okay,
didn't even know who Oprah was. That's why.
yeah. So, you know,
Oprah who?
Oprah who?
So to me, living spiritually actually encompasses everything. It encompasses a reaction. It encompasses highs and lows. True, I may not be able to, or rather, I may not find the need to do the things I've done when I was younger or to the extent to which that I did. But still, if I feel called to do something, I want to do it and I will do it. That because denying, I'm not sure, is the spiritual path. Spirituality and life can coexist.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting conversation as usual. And if you enjoyed our podcast, we do encourage you to like and subscribe. And if you have questions for us, please do let us know in the comment section below. With that, we'll say goodbye. Have a great day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.